You are either going into adversity, in adversity, or coming out of adversity at every point of your life. So if we are not ready for adversity, we will constantly get thrown off our game. Are you positioning yourself to win? And if the answer to that question is no, well, now today, I'm going to give you an outline of some things that you should be doing to position yourself in order to win. Number one, opportunity. That's important. You got to find an opportunity that actually has the horsepower to give you what you want. Some of you right now, you have a good job. Nothing wrong with having a job that provides for you and your family. It's respectable. But is that job going to give you the life that you want? No? Okay. Well, then that means that at your job, you are not positioned to win. You move into our space. Okay, our space, unlimited income potential. You can feel incredible about what you are doing. We are the best thing that happens to somebody on their worst day. We're helping people get out of debt, save money. Every other business in the world takes money out of families' pocket. Our business, we put money in our clients' pockets. Just think about that. Every other business makes money by taking money out of people's pockets. And all we do is we show our clients how to turn their money into more money. You can feel good about how you earn your money. Best opportunity in the history of business. Okay, so that's number one, opportunity. At your job, does it give you the opportunity to have the life that you want? Maybe, but most likely not. That's why you're on a call right now with us. So now the question is, what do we got to do to get full time? That's part of positioning yourself to win, is going from part-time to full-time. If you're part-time, can you have some success? Yeah, but I want to be very clear. Every person winning big here is full-time. Every one of them is full-time. And do you know when they went full-time? Before they were ready, before the stars aligned, before things were perfect. It's never the perfect time, but you got to seize the opportunity when you see the opportunity. Let me say it again. You need to seize the opportunity when you see the opportunity. The opportunity is here. Now the question is, are you seizing it? You see it, but are you seizing it? Are you taking full advantage of it? Are you going all in? Are you full-time? We're at 340. Let's get it to 400. Are you full-time yet? Whatever we got to do, let's just put ourselves in a position to go full-time, because that's when we're going to win. That's number one. Next thing, mentor and a coach. You got to position yourself to win. Well, if you want to position yourself to win, you got to learn from somebody who's already winning. Who are you getting direct mentorship from, coaching from, on how to grow, on how to scale, on how to get better? And are you seeking that out? Because the mentor doesn't seek out the mentee seeks out the mentor. I sought out Eric for 7 years before he brought me in to mentor me. 7 years. Every time I see him, what do I got to do for you to mentor me? And then guess what? He always moved the goalpost. And then he finally said yes. I said, Eric, why now? Why are you mentoring me now? He said, Matt, I was always mentoring you. He said, I know how you operate. I know how you think. I would say, hey, Matt, this is what you got to do. You got to hit this milestone. This is the mindset you got to have to hit the milestone. This is what you got to get better at to hit the milestone. And then once you hit that milestone, I'll mentor you. Not realizing the pursuit of mentorship, he was mentoring me through the pursuit of mentorship. See where I'm going with this? It was like a Karate Kid moment. I'm like, why am I waxing on and waxing off right now? And then boom, it all clicked. It all made sense. So question, are you putting yourself in a position to win by getting mentorship and coaching from somebody who is winning? No? Okay, what do you need to do to be able to get access to that leadership, that mindset, that coaching more? What do you got to do? And can I tell you what is not a good strategy? Talking yourself out of why you don't deserve it yet. I don't want to bother them yet. Put yourself in a position to win. Get a mentor, get a coach, lock and go with them. Lock and go with them. Are you seeking out your leadership every day? Are you texting your leadership every day? Are you calling your leadership every day? Not to annoy them, not to bug them, but to just seek out mentorship and coaching. So that way you can start to think the way that they think, because their thinking is generating their results. Your thinking is generating your results. So if you want better results, you got to shift your thinking. How do you shift your thinking? Go to those who have already shifted their thinking and adopt their mindset. Next one, intentional association / running mate. This is really important. How many of us try to be aware of who our children hang out with? Yes or yes? When was the last time we did an audit of who we hang out with? We care so much about who has influence over our children, but we do not audit who has influence over us. Whoever you are hanging out the most with has influence over you. You will succumb to the person around you, whether you like it or not, good or bad. So are we being intentional about getting and finding good associations, number one? But then are we also being intentional about having a running mate that helps hold us accountable? I saw somebody post the other day, I don't like having a running mate. I'm like, well then you're probably not going to like winning either then. The whole point of having a running mate is to have somebody that calls you out. To have somebody that says, hey, listen, bro, we got to get on the phones today. Hey, listen, we got to go get some names and numbers. I know you don't want to go to the gym, but I'm a good gym partner. I'm picking you up at your house. We're going. You got to have a running mate. How many of us played sports? How many of you had like that one person on the team that was just like your go-to? Like it was your go-to. You had one person on that field where you knew you can count on them. They had your back. They were that teammate that you just could rely on and count on. Okay, you need that in business. It's the same thing. You need that in business. You need that. I always have my running mates on the field. I always have my running mates in business. We got to have those running mates because it challenges us to get better. It pushes us to improve. Okay, next thing. We got to disassociate from people that don't support your growth and or make you comfortable because that's just as bad. Hey, we all need those people in our lives that are like, Marilyn, I love you just the way you are. Those aren't bad people. But we need people in our life that says, I love you too much to allow you to stay the way you are. See the difference? There's nothing wrong with having somebody in your life that says, Gabe, I love you the way you are, brother. I think you're awesome. I think you're especially, there's nothing wrong with that. But that person is not helping Gabe grow. We need the person that says, Gabe, I love you so much that I don't want to see you stay the way you are, which is why I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, which is why I'm going to challenge you and push you. So if I'm constantly hanging around people that make me comfortable, make me feel like I'm bigger and better than I am, then that's not good. This is why some of you who are the best person in your base shop, you need to get into the EMD pool. Well, why is that? Because right now you're a big fish in a little pond. And you need to go from being a big fish in a little pond to a small fish in a big pond. So you can grow, so you can get better. People said, what was the best thing that happened to the leadership team in GFI? We went from being big fish in a little pond in the practice company to being a small fish in a big pond. We went from being in a fishbowl to now swimming in the ocean. And we realized that if we were going to be able to swim with the sharks, if we were going to have the ability to swim with these whales in the industry, then we were going to need to step up our game. It forced us to elevate. It forced us to improve. It forced us to become better in our capacity. Next one, seek intentional information. Matt, what do you mean by this? I think a lot of us are seeking information, but we might be seeking information that we do not need to win here. I can go read a random book. But if the book doesn't help me grow here, then what's the point of reading the book? See where I'm going? I can learn everything that I need to learn about sunglasses, but that doesn't help me grow my business. So did I grow in an area? Yes. Is that actually going to help me be better? No. So we got to seek intentional information. Well, where do I get it? Trainings. Why do you think being on every training is so important? Because you're getting intentional information. Okay? Meetings. Making sure that if there's a meeting somewhere in person, you figure out a way to get there if you're invited to it. No matter what, hell or high water, you figure out a way to get there. You got to get into the room. Books, so important. And not just any book. People always ask me, Matt, what book are you reading? And I understand the question. I used to actually ask that question. But what book I'm reading is irrelevant. Well, why? Because I'm reading books that help me grow in the areas that I need to grow in. But the areas that I'm trying to grow in might be different than the areas that you're trying to grow in. What are you struggling with? Are you struggling with your people skills? Well, then let's read some people skills books. Are you struggling with closing? Well, then let's work on our closing. Let's go read some closing books. Do we need to improve our leadership? Then okay, let's dial that in. But we got to be seeking information that's going to help us get to another level. We got to be intentional on our development. We got to be intentional on developing the knowledge that we need in order to win. I want to be very clear with you. If you knew what you needed to know to get the results that you want to get, you'd be getting the results already. So we got to be developing. We got to be seeking out the information. Next thing, put yourselves in environments to win. What do we mean? Zoom environment, GroupMe environment, in-person environment. If you have the opportunity to plug into an office in your local area, I would be plugging into an office. And or if there's 3 of you in an area, maybe there's no office, maybe there's 3 of you in an area, maybe you guys go create your own little in-person environment. Let's be real, you work out better in the gym, don't you? No matter how you slice it and dice it, you do a better workout in the gym. Well, same thing. Some of us I work better from home. Is that just something that we're telling ourselves to stay in our comfort zone? Or do we actually execute and work better at home? Okay. See where I'm going? Picking up what I'm putting down, reading what I'm writing, tasting what I'm cooking, catching what I'm throwing, hearing what I'm saying. We all on the same page? Put yourself in an environment to win. All of a sudden you go to the gym, there's 300 people that you feel like are watching you. Same thing when you go to the office. It forces you to work. I remember those days where I'd be in the office and I'd be sitting there, right? And I'd be doing nothing on my phone. And then all of a sudden somebody would walk in the room and they would pretend to be doing something. You're doing absolutely nothing, twiddling your thumbs. And then all of a sudden somebody walks in the room, you're like, oh, Bob, how's it going, right? You just wanted to make it seem like you weren't just sitting around because you know that's not what generates success. So when you put yourself in an environment where there's that natural accountability, you're gonna win bigger. Next thing, non-negotiable schedule. So important. What is a non-negotiable schedule? A non-negotiable schedule is a schedule that you do not negotiate with. When you had your job or at your job, if you're still part-time, majority of you on here are full-time, but if you were at your job, okay, and it was 9 to 5, are you showing up at 10:30 because you feel like it? So some of us operated with more discipline building someone else's business than we do building our own business. What do you mean? Why? We got to have a schedule that you do not negotiate with. Every day I'm in the office from this time to this time. Put yourself in a position to win. Have a dedicated schedule that no matter what, it forces you to show up every day. I want you to write this down. Before 9 a.m., work on your body. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., grow your business. 9 p.m. to midnight, work on your mind. Do you have a non-negotiable schedule that you run every single day? I work from this time to this time, this time to this time. I work from 9 o'clock to 12:30. Then I go pick my kids up from school. I bring them home. They take a nap. I work from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I make them dinner, right? We hang out for 2 hours. Then I work from 7 o'clock to 10 or 8 o'clock to 10. Whatever it is, you just got to have a schedule that you do not negotiate with, that you run every single day. Even if you don't have appointments, even if you don't have meetings. See, my schedule was the 9 to 9 every day, 12 hours. We worked half days. Some people are like, 12 hours? The only reason we think 12 hours is long is because we're used to working 8 hours. But when you start working 12 hours, it's like running 3 miles seems like a long run. Until I start running 4 miles every day. Now 3 miles seems like I took a shortcut. Make sense? So when you're working 16 hours, 12 hours, you feel like you didn't even work that day. Because your endurance is different. Your conditioning is different. So you get better at working long hours because you become used to it. But this is what it really does. I remember days where I had the 9 to 9 schedule every day, 9 to 9. And there were days I didn't have any appointments. So I literally would show up to the office from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and I had 0 appointments that day. But do you know what it forced me to do? Everything that I possibly could so I didn't just sit there for 12 hours. It was like, who can I call? Who can I send a message out on Facebook to? Who can I go prospect? What appointment can I shadow to try to develop my skill? Shoot, I know I'm available today from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I only have about 40 calls that I can make. Okay, I make the 40 calls, then what? All right, Angela's doing an appointment. Maybe I can shadow Angela. Maybe I can catch one thing in her appointment that can help me be better in my appointments. Angela, can I shadow your interview today? Angela, can I shadow your onboarding today? And you just start seeking out see where I'm going? Okay? So if we run a schedule that we do not negotiate with, it forces us to work because you're not just going to sit in the office or sit in your room all day long. Say, I have a home office, okay? And I have an office at my office. I have both. But my wife will tell you when I walk into this room, the only reason I'm walking out of this room is to get water, use the restroom, grab a snack. That's it. I'm in here. I'm not leaving. Now, what if you don't have an appointment? Then I figure something out to do that moves the needle and grows the business. But I'm not going to go sit on my couch just because I can. I'm locking myself in the room. I only come up for air. Okay? Very important. Next thing, Power Hour, daily recruiting outreach. Every day. Some of us I want to get my recruiting up. Well, then we got to do a Power Hour every day. Put yourself in a position to win. Do a Power Hour every single day. Well, Matt, What do you mean? What I mean is dedicate an hour every day where you focus on direct recruiting outreach. If you did that every day, your business will grow. Jack Maroney was like, Matt, I'm like stuck at this 10 to 12 recruits a month thing. I said, dude, you got to do a power hour every day. He said, bro, all my guys, they do a power hour every day, but we're only doing 12 recruits a month on average. Excuse my language, but I said, he goes, what? I go, I call shit on every one of your people. There is no way you do a power hour every day and you get one recruit. It's not possible. It is physically impossible. I said, so all your guys are lying to you. He goes, really? I don't think they would lie to me. I said, brother, they are lying to you. They're telling you they're doing something that they're not doing. Watch, do it for a month and watch what happens. Jack does power hour with everyone on his team. After 1 month, they hit 35 recruits that month. Do you want to know why? It was just the accountability of everyone doing it together. See where I'm going? Okay? They weren't actually doing it. They said, oh, I'm making my calls. I'm doing my prospecting. I'm doing what I need to do. But they weren't actually doing it. And so when you do a power hour together every day, now it's fun. You guys can put on music. You guys can compete. Autumn, who's going to set the most appointments? You or David? She's like, I'm going to set more appointments than David. David, you get to take that? Autumn said she's going to do more appointments than you. David's like, heck no, Autumn's not doing more appointments than me. And then all of a sudden it becomes fun. And you guys start competing to see who can generate the most activity. Next one, volume, volume, volume. You want to put yourself in a position to win? You got to think in volume. Whatever you have done is never enough. Just because it's more than you've ever done doesn't mean that it's all that you can do. This is why I love a non-negotiable schedule. Because when you complete everything that was on your task list for that day and you still have 3 hours left in the day, guess what it does? It forces you to go create activity that leads to more volume. We got to be thinking in volume. I want you to write that down. Volume is the true measure of an entrepreneur's identity. We need to think in volume. Next one. Daily minimum standards of activity. I don't care if we start off at, all right, I got to make 5 phone calls a day and I got to set 1 appointment a day minimum. So if I call somebody on the first phone call and they pick up and I set an appointment, I still got 4 more calls to make. And or if I call 5 people and nobody picks up, I got more calls to make because I got to get 1 appointment on the board. What if that was just your daily minimum standard? Every day, I'm going to do 1 appointment. I'm going to shadow 1 appointment. I'm going to make 5 phone calls and I'm going to get 1 prospect. What if you just had a daily minimum standard of excellence where you just move the needle by 1 every day? Let's break down some basic math here. If I set 1 appointment a day, that's 365 appointments set per year. Yes or yes? Okay. As you guys know, if we call 10, 6 say they're going to show up, 3 actually do, we're guaranteed 1 result. Okay. Well, what is 1/6? What is that, 17%? 18%, give or take? Call it 18%. Well, that means that if we set 365 appointments, that means that they all say they're going to show up. 18% of them, that's 65 results. Think about that. You set 1 appointment every day based off our ratios and our metrics, you'll get 66 results this year. But no BS right now. Raise your hand if the last 30 days straight you set 1 new appointment. I'm not talking about with people who are already in the business. I can set up an appointment with all of you and hit my quota for the year. I just did 1 a day. I'm talking about a new person. Raise your hand. You set 1 new appointment every day the last 30 days straight. No days off. 1 new appointment. See? Only like 2 people's hands went up. Make sense? Okay? So we got to have daily minimum standards. Next one. Know what you need for your next milestone. Know what you need for your next milestone. Do you know exactly what you need to hit marketing director? No? Then you're not going to hit it. We got on a CFT base shop call this last Saturday. And I was like, hey, when you hit an MD by? They said this date. I said, what are the requirements? How are you going to hit a promotion if you don't know how to hit it? That's like saying, hey, I'm going to go hunting. I'm going to use a compound bow. I'm just going to shoot it into the wilderness and hope it hits the target. Do you think I'm going to kill anything? Maybe, but most likely not. That's how some of us are going after our next milestone. We have no idea. We got to have an idea. How many licenses do you need? How many net licenses do you need? How much premium do you need to write? Are we calculating for fall off? Are we paying attention to persistency? Do we know how many recruits that we need to do? Do we know exactly what we need to hit our next milestone or promotion? Some of us are running for our watch. Some of us are running for our next ring. Whatever it is, do you know exactly what you need in order to hit it? And if the answer to that question is no, you aren't going to hit it. So we need to know what we need for our next milestone. And then we need to create a plan. So now it's all right, I know what I need. Now this is my plan to go hit it. Okay, if I know what I need to do and I have a plan, the likelihood of me hitting it goes what? It goes up. So we got to lock that down. Next thing, skill and ability development. I want you to write this down. Perfect practice prevents poor performance. You've all heard before, practice makes perfect. Not if you practice incorrectly. If I'm practicing the wrong things, well, then that's not going to help me grow. So it's perfect practice prevents poor performance. Okay? So we got to work on our skill and our ability development. If we had the skills that we need to earn what we want to earn, we'd be earning it already. But the fact of the matter is our skills aren't there just yet. And question, do skills just appear or do we have to work to become skillful? I remember I started making a lot of phone calls and I started to feel like I was really good at phone calls. Like I was the best at the script. But then guess what? Somebody walked by, heard me making a phone call. They go, Matt. I go, yeah. They said, your energy on the phone is amazing, but you sound scripted. So like you are the best at the script. Yes, but it doesn't mean it's effective. I was like, I never thought about it that way. I was like, I'm getting every word right. I don't even have to think about the words anymore. I'm walking around. I feel cool about how I'm doing it. I feel awesome, but I wasn't effective because my tone wasn't dialed in. My cadence and how fast I was speaking wasn't dialed in. Guys, only 7% of communication is what you say. The other 93% is body language and tone of voice. So is that 7% important? Yeah. So I dialed in that 7%. But what I left behind was the 93%. That's 93% of communication is body language and tone of voice. So if we don't have that dialed in, then we're going to struggle. So we got to work on our skill and ability development. Are we putting in the reps? Are we practicing? No, then we're not going to get better. Are we watching game film? When was the last time you listened back to your appointment? When was the last time you listened back to the training call? When was the last time you listened back to the phone call? You recorded it and then you listened and you just audited yourself. People said, man, what is the best thing that's come from your social media? Just hearing myself every day and auditing myself every day. That is the most value I've gotten from my social media. And you just constantly hear yourself over and over and over and over. You nitpick yourself, you improve, you get better. Are you recording every appointment you do and then listening back to it on your way home? So that way you can be like, oh, I should have said something different. I spoke a little bit too fast there. My tone was off. Oh man, I did not overcome that objection very well. And you start to listen back to yourself so you can improve and audit and get better. Okay? Next thing, daily affirmations. I know this might sound silly. I know this might sound cheesy, but remember, cheesy people get the cheddar. Daily affirmations. This is what I would do. Write a list of affirmations as if you possess it already. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm the greatest closer of all time. I'm so happy and grateful that I love recruiting and recruiting loves me. I'm so happy and grateful that I get 5 directs every single month. I'm so happy and grateful that everyone says yes to me. I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me easily, frequently, and abundantly. I'm so happy and grateful that I do 25 recruits a month in my base shop. I'm so happy and grateful that I got my $250,000 ring by June of 2025. I'm so happy and grateful that I got my million. You guys with me on this? And you start to speak it as if you are attaining it. Do you know that your mind does not know the difference between something that you made up and a truth? But if all of a sudden we can affirm it every day, what do you think happens? It governs your decision making throughout the day. So here's the deal. If you just affirm it every day, is it just going to hit the goal for you? I'm so happy and grateful that I hit EMD by this date. No. But every day, if you're saying that throughout the day, it's like affirmations is like going bowling and putting bumpers up. If you say your affirmations in the morning, you say your affirmations in the evening, and then you bowl throughout the day, every time you start to drift, your affirmations keep you on track. So no matter what, you at least knock down some pins every day. And if you're knocking down enough pins, eventually you get the scoreboard racked up. Same thing here. So if you are reading your goals every day, I'm so happy and grateful that I accomplished this goal by this date. I'm so happy and grateful that I got 5 directs in the month of April. I'm so happy and grateful that I did 2,000 on personal premium. I'm so happy and grateful that I do $1 million in rollovers every month. I'm so happy and grateful that I make $25,000 every month. No matter, if you just start saying those things out loud, it operates like bumpers throughout your day. So every time you start to drift, the goal gets you back on target. And this might sound ridiculous, but this served me so much over my career. I literally would go to Staples, I would print out all my affirmations, I would get it laminated, and I would put it in the shower. Why? Because every morning I was in the shower, every night I was in the shower, so I would take that laminate and I would read it out loud with passion, energy, and conviction in the shower. I'm so happy and grateful. And guess what? It led to results. Next thing, understand what takes you off your game and then proactively avoid it. This is seeing around the corner. It's not just about staying on your game. It's like, all right, what takes me off my game? What distractions do I have in my life? Remember, focus is not prioritizing one thing over another. Focus is the process of elimination, not prioritization. Most people think focus is about prioritization. No. Focus is about elimination. Because if I'm prioritizing one thing over another, that still means that the other thing is on my mind. So what if I just eliminate it altogether? Now I only have one thing on my mind. That's focus. So we have to proactively think, what takes me off my game? Man, every time I hang around this person, I just feel negative. All right, that takes you off your game. We should probably not hang around that person anymore. Hey, every time I hang around this person, I feel like I want to move. Okay, then try to hang around them more. See where I'm going with this? Okay? Every time I do this, it takes me off my game. Every time I do this, it takes me off. When I don't work out in the morning, I don't feel as good throughout the day. Okay, then work out in the morning. But we got to start predicting what are the obstacles that take us off our game, that don't make us want to work, that distract us from our dreams, and then be proactive about avoiding it. Next thing, trigger yourself into a peak state. Now, what does that mean? How many of us, when we played sports, we had our pregame rituals? Do you know what those were? It was pregame triggers. That's what it is. There are pregame rituals and there are pregame triggers. And so, for instance, you might do, before sports, you might watch game film the night before. There's probably that meal that you ate for breakfast, maybe that sandwich that you ate right before the game. I know for me, it was peanut butter, banana, and honey. And I would eat that before every single game. And then there was that same playlist you would put on. And then right before game time, like the last song I would ever listen to was Till I Collapse by Eminem. And then right before the whistle would blow, there was just certain movement I would do with my feet that it's like just told my mind it's game time. And we all had that. We all had our pregame rituals. Question, if every day is game day in business, do you have pregame rituals that put you in a peak state every day? If every day is game time in business, or do we have our nightly rituals that lead to us putting in the work the next day? What are our rituals that lead to us putting in the work if every day is game day in business? I want to be very clear with you. Business is the most competitive sport on earth. There is not a more competitive sport in the world than business. Well, why is that? Because it's every day. The clock never runs out. It is an infinite game. It is the most competitive sport in business in the world. So if every day is a new game, what am I doing to put myself into a peak state? Question, would you go eat a whole bunch of brownies before going and playing football? Heck, how many of us have ever eaten hot Cheetos before and then gone on a run? You ever try that? Isn't it like difficult to breathe? Yeah. So question, are you eating hot Cheetos throughout the day? But Matt, I really like them. Yeah, but it's affecting your performance. Every detail matters. What are we putting into our body? Are we hydrating? Are we hydrating throughout the day? You are a business athlete. So if you are a business athlete, are you treating your body like an engine? Are you treating your body like a vessel and only putting things into it that serve your performance? Okay? That's like me putting regular fuel in my R8. It's not going to run as well. That's like me putting 91 fuel into a race car. It's not going to run as well. I'm not putting the right fuel in it to help it win. Make sense? So let's go back to the trigger for a second. Do you have a trigger that puts you in a state of performance? What does that look like? Okay, I'll give you an example. For me, I go like this. If you see me doing that, I'm triggering, like it's doing it to me right now. If you see me doing this, I'm triggering myself into a peak state. I'm triggering myself into a peak state. Another thing I do is I hit my chest and I go, ah, and I do that before every call. Doesn't matter what call it is, what meeting I do. If I'm about to go on stage, I literally go into the restroom, I go into the stall and I go, ah, ah, and I literally, and nobody can hear me, but I hype myself up and then I go on stage. Why? I'm triggering myself into a state of performance. We all have triggers, okay? Where did I learn this? There's a guy named Ed. And one of the things that Ed used to talk about is how he went to his uncle's funeral. And his uncle was like a father figure in his life. And he went to his uncle's funeral and he sat down, right? And Ed was trying to figure out, how come every time I get off stage, I'll deliver the most incredible message and I get off stage and then somebody will come and pat me on the back and say, great job. And then immediately like I'm depressed. And he was like, why is this happening? And so he started doing research on it. And he started meeting with different psychiatrists and therapists to try to figure out what is causing him to be depressed every time he gets off a stage. And so then they uncovered and they realized when he went to his uncle's funeral, he was sitting there. And as everybody went down the aisle, they tapped him on the shoulder and said, sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. So then all of a sudden he would get off a stage and people would come hit him on the shoulder. Great message, man. And it would trigger him into a negative emotional state. And it's an unconscious thing that we don't even know happens. But we all have these triggers. It's the reason sometimes you feel upset and you don't even know you're up. Why? It's a trigger. So now it's, can we trigger ourselves into a peak state where we are more likely to perform and get the results that we want? So literally, Matt, how often can you trigger yourself? All day, every day. Before every appointment, I'm triggering. I'm getting myself into that state so I'm ready to perform. I'm ready to execute regardless of how I feel. And it works. So you got to create your own triggers. Some people, right? Start watching athletes. You guys ever see the video of LeBron James? He always goes onto the court and what does he do? He puts the baby powder in his hand and he shoots it up. He does it every time he goes onto the court. And then one time he goes up there and they're out and he's like kind of freaks out a little bit. Well, why is that? Because that was his pregame ritual. And then all of a sudden there wasn't baby powder in the little mechanism thing and it threw him off. So he had to get back into it. Same thing. Next thing, the punches are coming. Think like a boxer. Matt, what is the best way to win? Understand that punches are coming. If all of a sudden I get into a boxing ring and I get caught across the chin with my jaw open, what do you think's happening? But if I had my jaw clenched because I was expecting the punch, do you think it's going to land as hard? No, why? Because I'm prepared for the hit. If you're on a football field and you're unprepared for the hit, that's dangerous. But if you're prepared for the hit, it doesn't faze you as much, does it? In business, there are going to be hits. So if you could pre-plan, when I do get hit, this is how I respond. When I do get hit, this is how I will be. When I do get hit, this is what I will do. If we make that decision in advance, now when the hits come, they don't throw us off our game as much. Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Adversity is coming. You are either going into adversity, in adversity, or coming out of adversity at every point of your life. So if we are not ready for adversity, we will constantly get thrown off our game. Constantly. So we got to be ready for it. And then last but not least, we got to operate with a 0-0 mentality. Matt, how do you position yourself to win? Operate with a 0-0 mentality. Well, what do you mean? You always play like it's 0-0, no matter what the scoreboard is. No matter what the scoreboard is, you operate and you play like it's 0-0. You put the ball in the back of the net, grab the ball out of the net, 0-0, put it on the line. You get scored on, grab the ball in the back of the net, 0-0, put it on the line. Why? Because when you score, what do most people do? They start playing like they're up. They don't hustle to the ball the way that they were before. They don't run for that ball the way they did before. When you start playing like you're winning is the moment you lose. You got to play like it's 0-0 until the whistle blows. And in business, the whistle never blows. But you know what most people do as well? They get scored on. And when they get scored on, they start playing emotionally, don't they? They start making passes they shouldn't have made. They start doing things they shouldn't do because they're just trying to get the ball to the back of the net so they can get caught up because they got scored on. So whether you get scored on or you score, it's our ability to stay even keel, play like it's 0-0, that will determine our ability to win. When you score, it's your ability to play like you haven't. When you get scored on, it's your ability to not be reactive, but play with winning in mind. I'm not just going to pass the ball to try to get no. Time it, play it right. Let's get the W. Put yourself in a position to win. Run the numbers. Don't negotiate with them. Don't fight with them. I'm guilty of that as well. Well, maybe I can do it this way. Just trust me. Just execute on the numbers we have. The ratios always work themselves out. Run these numbers. You will make $500,000 this year. And you know what's awesome? In the next 60 days, we're going to help everyone get to a point where every single licensed agent is doing 150,000 points per year, not just 30,000.
Let's get it. 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 Let's get it.